I'm going to show you how to sell cars fast on Facebook Marketplace in 5 simple steps. I've been using these same steps to sell cars myself on Facebook, and I've literally sold cars the same exact day that I've posted. So I'm sure if you follow these same things yourself, you're gonna have great results as well. Let's start with number 1 now. Okay, so the first one has got to be taking good pictures. I really cannot explain how important this is. There's been so many cars that I've seen posted, or people have, like students of mine that have posted up cars, and I'm like, man, this could have been such a great post if the pictures were just done a little better. When the pictures are done bad, just in general, there's not gonna be too many people that's gonna be checking out the car just because they're gonna think that the car looks as bad as the pictures do. So this is a quick example of a car that I posted up myself. Doesn't really matter exactly what the car is, but look at how the picture was. Not only was it in good lighting, I generally would usually suggest taking pictures, usually either when it's like a sunrise or sunset, where the light isn't directly beaming from the sun onto the car and there's like a lot of harsh shadows and stuff, and or possibly even on like a cloudy day as well. But you're mainly going to be taking it in like a couple of different angles. Could be a lot of pictures, you could even do more than what I did here, but let's say the front left, front right, you know, the back, doing the same type of things as well. Also taking the inside shots like this, basically taking the interior, and really the more the merrier. Honestly, you don't have to even take these exact pictures, but just stuff where it really shows what the car is looking like in a good condition as well. And I also would say, as a big thing, if you do have certain things, like let's say the sunroof, like let's say this car, it kind of has like a panoramic, like dual sunroof, I'm going to be showing that as well. If it has certain things like this, like a backup camera, you should be taking that in the pictures so that the people can kind of get captivated by that as well. And as a quick bonus tip, I would highly suggest taking a video on top of that. Facebook just added that as a feature within like the last year. I've actually done a test myself where I've posted up a vehicle without a video and with the video, and the vehicle that had the video posted with it got way more views, got way more people coming in to actually check out the car. So I would highly suggest that. It's basically doing the same thing as what you did with the pictures, just taking a quick walk around the outside and then looking at the inside as well. Okay, so now for step number 2, which is just making an enticing description. And the description really is huge. I mean, right after people look at the photos, generally right after that, they look at the description of the car to make sure everything is good with it. So this is the point that you have to really make sure that whatever features that car has, you're highlighting, and at the same time you're also being honest so that you're not wasting time for whoever's going to come later in the future. So this is just an example of one of the postings that I did. This is a Mitsubishi Outlander. This is some of the things that I said in the description for this car right here. So I said a 2-owner Mitsubishi Outlander for sale with 4-wheel drive, no mechanical problems or dash lights on. There are very light scratches along the exterior just from being an older vehicle, but everything works as it should and is good to register and go, I believe is right after that. But as you see, yes, I highlighted the main key selling points of this car, like 4-wheel drive that I know people would like, and also just not having any mechanical problems that they have to deal with. But then I also talked about like the small things that they might want to know, just like, all right, the fact that it has a little bit of blemishes, not like it's a perfect car. Stuff like that goes a long way for kind of setting their expectations before they even come to see the vehicle as well. Okay, so now for step number 3, which is just pricing it competitively. A lot of people make this mistake just thinking that they can price the car at like whatever they want and try to make most of the profit that they're getting off of the car when they're trying to sell the car later. When realistically, a lot of times, if that happens, if you sell it like way overpriced from what the car is really worth, then the car is just gonna be sitting there forever and no one's really gonna want to buy it. So you have to make sure that you're pricing it at a point where it's just around the same range as what other people are pricing it at around your area, or potentially even a little bit less. And I would say Kelley Blue Book is generally a pretty good judge for that as well, especially since most people, when they're buying the car themselves and they're going to be coming to you to check out the car, they're going to be checking Kelley Blue Book as well. So this is for the car that I just showed you, the Mitsubishi Outlander. This is the average price of the car. It could basically be anywhere from $2,700 all the way up to $5,000. And you see that middle number right here is $3,800, which, if you remember, around the price that I posted my car at. If you price it over that number, it's just going to be too much. I would generally say, if you can and if you have enough margin for it, pricing it a little bit under what that middle number would really be the greatest, so that you can get that car sold pretty quickly. But I would just mention as a quick thing, make sure you are going to be pricing your car a little bit higher than what you actually want to sell it for, because most people, realistically, when they're buying a car from you, they're probably going to want to negotiate a little bit. The next thing that I would highly suggest doing for step number 4 is just doing a boost on your listing as well. And I will say, I mean, this is something that you don't always have to do if you have a car that's like a really high market car, let's say like a Honda Accord or something that most people are probably going to want. But if you have a car that is just not as sought after, that's something that's doesn't have as big of a market, then you should really be doing this. And I would suggest, I mean, this is the layout for it. You could pick anything from $1 to, I mean, you could set whatever budget you really want on top of that. But I would usually say doing it for at most $5 a day, from what I say, what I would see would usually be good for most cars. It's up to you exactly how long the campaign will go for. As you can see here, it also depends on the amount of days that that campaign can go for with the boost. But honestly speaking, for me, a lot of times I usually get the cars sold within a couple of days of the time that I posted. So a lot of times I'll pay for a couple of days and then the boost stops after that and I don't have to pay anymore. Before we get to step number 5, I did also want to mention, I mean, if you don't want to just be selling cars like this, but you also want to be buying them and flipping them from profit and potentially even be flipping auction cars, I did also put together a training on how you could double your monthly income flipping auction cars. It is a lot harder of a skill to master, and honestly, if you don't do it right, you could definitely lose a lot of money. So if you want access to that training, it's completely free. Just go to the link in the description below to get access to it. And for step number 5, it's mainly going to be about when you're really there at the point of sale with that customer. And the main 2 things I have to mention is, 1, making sure that you're honest just from the get-go. If there's any problems, what's wrong with the car, and if there's anything that they should be aware of, you should be telling them that right when they get there to see the car. That's one thing. And then the second thing is you also want to just make sure that you're being extremely nice to them, and if possible, even trying to make them laugh at one point. This is a sneaky tip that you might think is not really that serious, but realistically, people buy from people that they like and trust. So if you're honest with them and then you're making them laugh a little bit as well, getting that sale at the end of everything is just going to be a lot easier too. And no, you don't have to be some all-out comedian. Just a simple joke here and there might possibly do. But that's about everything. Make sure you get your training on how to flip auction cars, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.